Okay, we're at chapter 5, section 1 for the college algebra course, and this chapter is all about nth roots, rational exponents, rational functions. So hopefully you remember your exponent rules from algebra 1. If not, we're going to go over them again and take it a couple steps further than what you did in algebra 1. So the first thing you probably want to write down in your notes is this little bulleted item here. For an integer greater than 1, if b to the n is equal to a, then b is an nth root of a. And an nth root of a is written as the nth root of a, where n is the index of the radical. And anytime there's this symbol, that's a radical, that's radical form. So I can't remember if you've been exposed to rational exponents before, but if you have your base and you have a rational exponent, the denominator of your rational exponent is the index of your radical, and the numerator is the power. So for instance, if you had 16 to the 3/2 power, the rational form, meaning the fractional form for the exponent, this is really 16 raised to the 1/2 cubed, because remember, what do you do with powers when you raise a power to another power? You multiply them. So 1/2 times 3 is 3/2. But I know that 16 to the half root, or the half power, is really the square root of 16. So the square root of 16 is 4. 4 to the third power is 64. And then over here is just showing how to do it in radical form. So 16 to the 1/2, again, is the square root of 16. Cube that, you'd still get 4 cubed, and the answer, same, 64. So here's an example with a rational exponent that's negative. And first we'll do rational form. Remember that if you have a negative exponent, you take the reciprocal of the base, and then the exponent becomes positive. This is 32 to the 1/5 power raised to the third power. So remember that 32 to the 1/5 is really the same thing as the 5th root of 32. Well, I happen to know, and I remember, and you'll figure this out after this chapter probably, that the 5th root of 32 is 2. And then raise that to the third power, and that simplifies to 1/8. And again, this would be the radical form of simplification. The 5th root of 32 is 2. 2 to the third is 8. So the answer is 1/8. So in this section, you're going to be solving equations using nth roots. Let's just look at what that example might look like. So let's say we had 4x to the 5th equals 128. Divide both sides by 4. You get x to the 5th equals 32. So that means in order to undo taking something to the 5th power is taking the 5th root of it. So x would be the 5th root of 32. If you don't know that the 5th root of 32 is 2 on your calculator, you could just say 32 and then that symbol, and then take it to the 1 divided by 5 power. Or you can also hit enter your index number first, and then go to the math button and look for the symbol that looks like this, with an X up here as the index. But the only problem with doing it this way is you got to remember to hit the index number first, and then the math key, and then this, and then you would enter 32. That's how you do that on the calculator. Here's another example. using nth roots to solve. So the opposite of taking something to the fourth power is taking the fourth root. So if I took the fourth root of both sides, I'd have x minus 3 equals plus or minus the fourth root of 21. Adding 3 to both sides gives me this. That's your exact answer. Your approximate answer, you would just do that on the calculator and then usually round it to the nearest hundredth or so. And that is it for 5.1.